Hi, welcome back to Margaret Lewin Quilting. As most of you know, I am in the midst of building a brand new studio. And in building the new studio, I'm finally starting to get together some things that I want to do to decorate it. And one of the things that I wanted to do was make a monthly flag of some sort that, signifies each and every month. And I came across seasonal silhouettes. I'm going to hold it up really close so you can see it. These are by Laundry Basket Quilts, and they are just absolutely adorable. The package comes with the background fabric and all of the applique pieces that you need to make it. So what I'm going to do today is show you exactly how I'm making this for my new studio. I'm starting with block 9, which is September, because I expect to be moving into the studio the very end of August. So I figured let's start with September, and we'll do one every single month till I've got them done. I figured it was easier to do one a month and try to do all of them at once. So I'm going to show you my entire process on how I do this. I'm going to start by finding the right side of my batik. And I'm going to try to show you on film exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard. But if you can see right here in this area, there's like these little speckles. That's from when they put the salt on the fabric. If you turn it over on the other side, you can't really see those little dots. So the side that has all those little teeny tiny dots or different colors, that is the right side. So I'm going to start by laying this down on my ironing table, and I'm going to spray it. I think everybody knows that magic sizing is my life. One of the reasons why I like the magic sizing so much is because it doesn't leave any flakes behind. If I don't use magic sizing, I use Mary Ellen's Best Press, and I like this too. I like my sizing too. So, all right, I've sprayed it, and I'm gonna let it soak in there for a minute, and then I'm gonna I'm actually ironing it this time. I'm not pressing it, so I can just iron away. Just getting it good and flat because this is my background piece. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to iron the back side of it. And then I'm going to flip it one more time and iron it again. Now that I've pressed it, I'm going to find my center. I find my center by folding it in half. So I know that I've got my half mark, and I'm just finger pressing it right there. And then holding all of the sides together, I'm going to fold it in half again, and I'm going to finger press it again. And that's all I need to do. Then I'm going to open it up, and I'm not certain that you're going to be able to see it, but I can see a crease right there. So I'm just going to stick a pin for now right in there so that I know where my center is. Okay. Now that I've done that, I'm going to grab my photograph of what my piece looks like, and it shows it right on the tag for it. And I'm going to open up my silhouettes, just what they're called. And I'm going to bring them all out. And there are quite a few little teeny tiny pieces, so be careful because you really don't want to lose one. Oh, mine was packed by Vicky. Okay. So I'm going to set all those little pieces aside, and I'm going to start by laying out my basket, because that's what comes first. It looks to me from the picture that the basket lays right about at the center line. So I'm going to put that there just to see how it looks. And then I'm going to sort my pieces out. I'm going to start with my big leaves that I can easily see and determine what they are. I'm going to start with my leaves. Here we go. We'll get those all out. And here's my part of my bird. And I have to have a second piece to my bird. Here's the second piece to my bird. A couple of flowers. I'll set those over there. This looks like a stem. And there's some leaves. More leaves and another flower. All right, so now what I've done is I have sorted all of my pieces so that all of my like pieces are together. The next thing I'm going to do is lay them out how the pattern shows them. Then once I've done that and I know I'm happy with it, I'll come back and let you see what it looks like. All right, I have laid my piece out the way I want it. It may not be exactly the way her piece is, but this is the way I want mine. And there's a couple of things that I've noticed with it. And that is on her piece, I'll show you the picture again. You can see here on her leaf, she has the stem hidden underneath the basket so that it really looks more like it's falling out, which I think is gorgeous. She's done the same thing over here with these leaves. They're tucked underneath the basket so that they really look like they're falling out of the basket. The other thing that I noticed is that a lot of these pieces have to be put down prior to the basket. When I looked at it first, I thought that the first piece that needed to go down would be the basket, and it's not. So looking at this, it looks like this group absolutely has to go down before the basket. These do. This one partially does. This one completely does. And these pieces are going to attach right to the basket. So what I'm going to do is take a regular sewing pin. I don't know that you can see it. There, now you can see it. And I'm going to pick up my pieces, and I'm just going to score the back of it, because what that will do, once I've scored it, I can take it apart and I can lay it right back down on my piece. And I'm going to do those one at a time. I'm not pressing firmly, I'm just setting them back in place. And the nice thing about these silhouettes is there's a little bit of sticky on them, so they actually will just stick in place while you're working on your piece. So here I go. I'm going to show you something. I'm not really happy where I set the bird, so because I haven't ironed it or pressed it, I can pick it up and move it over a little bit. One of the things that you do want to be really careful about with this is you need your 1/4 of an inch on all of the sides for your binding, because this does get bound. So I'm going to move it over just a little bit. There, I think I'm happier with it there. Now I've got room for this. It's a little tight, but I'm okay with that, I think. Yeah. I'm going to start with this flower first and getting that down towards the bottom. And then I'll do these pieces. Okay, so now it's time to move over to this side of it. So I'm going to start with this leaf. And it's okay if it's not exactly where she puts her piece, because this is yours. Although I think my pieces are pretty close to where she had hers. Okay, I'm taking a step back to see what I look like, and this is what I'm seeing right now. I'm not happy with how far up I have it, so before I go any farther, I'm going to pull it down. Okay, I'm going to remove my pin that marked my center, and then I'm just going to move all of these pieces down. Now, because I have not pressed this, I can also very easily move these pieces. The only thing I want to do is make sure that any of the pieces that go underneath the basket are under the basket. I think I like that a little better. I'm going to move these down just a little bit. Move this one down. And I'm going to move this one down. Sorry for the shadow. Now I'm going to put this one under. Now I'm going to start working on this little piece. Now, I'm being pretty fussy with this, and probably overly fussy. only because that's kind of the way I am. So please don't think that you have to be as fussy as what I'm being, because it's just not necessary. This is supposed to be for fun. I'm going to tuck my little pieces underneath there. Acorns. Alright. Now, these pieces are going to have to be put down once I've put my basket down. So, the next piece I'm going to do is this leaf down here at the bottom. And again, we've got our stem right underneath our basket. And you can put as much or as little of it under there as you want. I'm going to think about like that. Next thing I'm going to do is the little basket pieces. Now, if I wanted to, I could press these pieces down right now once I get them put on here. But I'm just going to press the whole thing at once. I'm not going to do it step by step by step. Sometimes you actually do have to do it one at a time. But on this one, I don't. I'm going to switch these two. I think I want this one up here. Yep. Okay. My next piece is my basket. So again, I'm just going to take a needle, or a pin, I'm sorry, and score the underside of it. And then I will be able to just rip it off. Okay. And on this piece, this is the one that, this is the big one that we've been leading up to. So I'm going to start by laying it down, and then I'm just going to gently pull it down and over, and just gently play with it so that I can get it exactly where I want it and laying flat. And the only other thing that I need to make sure when I'm doing this is that I've hidden my stems that I want to hide, and that it looks pretty square. And how I do that is I actually come back and stand at my camera and look at it through my camera, because then I'm not seeing all of the detail. And it looks pretty good to me. My next one that I'm going to do is my leaf that goes down at the bottom, and I'm actually going to do something, at least I think I'm going to. I don't want all that bulk in there, so I'm going to just snip off a little bit, and I can do it because it's mine. And then, oh, I'm not quite smooth here. Let's see what I can do to work that in. The little crease has got a little too much with it. Okay, so now I can take my leaf and I'm just going to pick up this end, and then I will tuck that little bit underneath so that it looks like it's really falling out of there. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit because I do want a little bit of my stem to show. There. Now these two pieces go over here. This one goes down first, and it looks like it's over. There's my pin. Never mind. Okay, so this one looks like it's under but over. So I'm going to tuck this little bit under here. And I'm going to adjust it because I want it so that it looks like it's just tumbling out of there because the basket is so full of fall leaves. How's that look? Pretty good? In this one, goes the opposite direction. I'm going to get that one in there and put that down. All right, now I'm going to stand back and take a look at it and make sure that it's all the way I want it, because once I press this, it's down for good. It's not going to move. I'm not going to be able to do anything to it. It's there. So I'm going to take a picture of it, and then I will come back and show you how I press it. I'm very happy with my placement. To me, everything's fine. It's laying nice and flat. So I'm going to take a hot, dry iron, and I am just going to start at the top on one side, and I'm going to work my way down, then I'm going to work my way back up, and it'll be done. And it is a matter of simply just putting it down, raising it up, putting it down, raising it up, putting it down, raising it up. So you can see I'm really just holding it for a few seconds, if that. Now that I've done that, I'm just going to go in and check and make sure that my spots are pretty down. And I'm just rubbing my finger over it, because if it was going to move, it would move. Okay, I'm down. So now I can actually just lift it up even, and it all stays in place. So now it's time to take it over to the sewing machine, and I'll show you the next step, which is just as fun and simple, simple, simple. I'm using 3 colors of thread, and they are all Aurifil. I'm using 2370, 1125, and 1100. And how I'm going to use these is the blue is going to go on my bird and on the bluer color leaf, and the bright pink is going to go on the little 3 flowers. Everything else is going to be done in 2370. So I'm going to get this all set up, and then I'll move the camera so that hopefully you can see exactly how I stitch this. The other thing that I have done is I have grabbed my number 34. Whoops. I've grabbed my number. Can you see that number? I've grabbed the number 34 foot. And the reason why I did is because it has the invisible zipper foot so that I can see through it. I'm going to put that on my machine and get it threaded, and then we will get to stitching. Alright, I now have a scrap piece underneath my presser foot because the first thing that I want to do is I want to practice my piece to decide which way, how I'm going to sew it. I could do the buttonhole stitch, I could do a zigzag or a straight stitch. And I really think on this one, I just want to do a straight stitch. So what I'm going to do is just sew a little bit because I want to see the length of my stitch and I want to see how it looks for me. And excuse all my threads, please. All right. Here you can, I hope you can see my stitch. I'm okay with that. I've got my sewing machine set at just over 2, and I'm okay with that. So now that I've done that, well, you know what? I'll show you the zigzag so that you can see what the zigzag would look like. Here's my zigzag. I'm set at 3 and just over 1. And here's my zigzag. And I'm just not thrilled with that. Number one, my tension's off because see how it's puckered. So that's that one. And let's see if I can find the buttonhole stitch on my machine. All right, we're going to pass on that buttonhole stitch because I can't find it. All right, I want to do the straight stitch. So what I'm doing, and I think you can see it, is I'm lining that red line up with the very edge of my piece of the applique. And I'm just going to slowly stitch. I'm just going to start. And I've taken a few stitches, and what you can see here, whoops, now you can see, is I'm off. I should have been a little bit farther in. So I have a solution to that. I should have checked that before I started sewing, and I didn't. So all right. So what I've done is, you can see I'm lining my little red line up exactly on the edge of my applique piece. And then I'm going to go over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to tell my needle to go 1 click to the left. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring me right inside on the edge of my piece. And I'm going to put the needle just about down to see if that was enough before I start, and it actually wasn't. So now I'm going to go a second click in. I've got to bring my needle up first there. Okay, so now I'm 2 clicks in, and I'm about a 1/16 of an inch from the edge. So now I'm going to start sewing. I'm not going to back stitch now. I'll show you when I get to the end what I'm going to do. So I'm just keeping my little red line right on the edge. And I'm going really slow because I have a camera in between me and my sewing machine, which makes it a little difficult. And I wanted my needle down. If you've got that needle down feature, that is wonderful because it gives you the ability to stay where you are and turn your piece. See how I take a stitch and then turn, take a stitch and turn, take a stitch and turn. Now I'm going to go all the way around my piece. And I'm back to have to take my stitch and turn, take my stitch and turn, again, again, and again. And then one more time. And now you can see I'm right back to where I started. So now I can just stop because I've stitched over my stitch. And see how nice and straight that is? I'm going to bring my needle up and I'm just going to bring it out. I'm going to clip my threads. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to clip my threads right now on my back side while I'm here so that it's done and I don't get all of my threads tangled up inside of the rest of the piece. And I'm going to go on to my next one. So I'm going to get all of the straight pieces done that are in this color thread first. When I get to one of the leaves where there's a lot of twists and turns, I will come back and show you. But what I'm going to stitch first is all of these lines for the basket. I'm going to stitch all the way around the basket, and I'm going to do my little acorns. Then I'll do the leaves. So I'll be back once I'm at that stage. One of the things I have to make sure that I do is see right here where I've got just a little bit of the basket showing through. I want to make sure I get a couple stitches there. And then again over on this side I've got just a couple pieces. So I'll be back to show you where I'm at once I get all that done. All right, I have stitched one of my leaves. I got one all done. I figured I'd do one first so that I could give it a test run, and I was pretty content with it. I think it turned out fine. So now I'm going to come over and work on this one. What I found was it's best to start in a spot where you can do a few stitches. So like starting right here where there really isn't room for many more than one or maybe two stitches isn't a good thing. So I'm going to start here where there's a little bit more of a length, and I'm lining it up exactly like I did the last one. I'm going to make sure that my needle, okay, I'm trying to do this with the camera in between me and the sewing machine, so it's not exactly the easiest, but we're going to get through it. I'm going to hold on to my thread. I don't normally have to, but for this I'm going to, because I am going to come back and I'm going to stitch over it, but to start with I want to hold it, and I'm going to do 2 stitches, and then I'm just going to do back 1 and then go forward again, just because I want to make sure that it's locked in there. I'm going to come up to the point, and then I'm just going to pick up my presser foot and turn it around. And I am going to go back and clip that one thread that I had there, and now I'm just going to keep going. And I'm just obviously going really slow. Whenever I need to make a little bit more of an abrupt turn, I pick up my presser foot and just rotate my piece. This I'm going to do a 1 stitch, and then I'm going to pick it up again, and now we're going to head back up the next side. And that's all I'm going to do, and I'll do this all the way around. The clear presser foot really makes a big difference. It's very nice to be able to see what's going on and where you're stitching and all of that. So this is a half stitch this way. And you can see I'm not going all the way to the end, or at least trying not to, because if I do, I run the risk of catching the end of that leaf point, which I did right here, but I think it's going to be just fine. What we're doing really is just securing it down. This is going to be a wall hanging. I don't foresee it being washed a lot, and if it does, to me it's just going to add to the character of the piece because it will potentially fray right there, and I'm okay with that. I got a little spot here. I got really close to the edge and I can see the tip has come up, so I'm going to put it down with the tip has come up, so I'm going to put it down and then lower my presser foot again to make sure that it stays under, and it did. So here I go. And you can see I'm just very slowly going all the way around. And just top stitching it down. I want to be pretty close to the edge, because what happens is if you're not close to the edge, if you're going to quilt it on the long arm, you run a real risk of catching, the hopping foot could catch the applique, and you don't want to do that either. Because then it turns into a mess, and then you're pulling stitches, and it's just not fun. But you can see it's not difficult to do, it's just obviously time consuming. And it helps that I'm doing the straight stitch instead of the buttonhole. The buttonhole I think would take me even longer to do. And I'm not into that right now. If I was doing a buttonhole, I really think I would prefer to do it by hand, because I do enjoy doing handwork. But I just really thought these would be cute for the studio. All right, the leaf is done. And there it is. So I'm going to continue with this color of thread for all of these pieces, and then I will switch it over to the other colors that I'm using, and I will be back to show you when it is completely finished. And I really don't have that much to do, so I'll be back when it's done. I have finished sewing another leaf, and I wanted to show you an alternative way to finish off. I've been back stitching. On this one, I'm going to take a longer piece of thread for both the bobbin and the top, and I'm going to flip it over. Let's see if I can get it over where you can see it. And I'm going to go to the back side, and I'm going to bring my front thread through to the back. I've got both my threads. And I'm just going to tie a square knot. So right over left, down around and under. Oop. Tying a square knot on camera is not easy. So here we go. Oop. Especially with this wonderful fine thread. So there's my square knot, or my start of my square knot. And then here's the other half. So I've got a good strong square knot in there, and now I can just clip it off. So you can either backstitch or you can tie it off when you're done. I finished my piece, and there it is all done. I'll also insert a regular picture so that you can see it. When I was working on some of the other pieces, I did try another foot. I tried my number 20 foot, and you can see it's far more open at the bottom. It's a embroidery foot. I didn't like it. I didn't feel as if it held the fabric down all the way, and I didn't like that big wide open. So I went back to the number 34 for my machine with the clear foot. I am going to stop and see before next month if my local sewing shop has got a number 20, which has a clear foot, and where this is a little deeper so that it will hold the fabric a little bit tighter. But anyhow, that's how I did. It wasn't difficult at all. I didn't keep track of how much time it took me to do it, but it really wasn't hard. The hardest pieces on the whole thing to do were these little itty bitty flowers. Those were a little bit more time consuming because there just really wasn't enough space to do a lot of sewing. So I'm very pleased with how it looks. I'll do November's next month, and I'd like to thank you very much for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them below. And if there's anything in particular that you'd like to see, also let me know that, and I'll do my best to do it. And thanks so much. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.